So this is a very exciting day, and even though it's quite overwhelming, I wanted to start off a My Money, My Way mini lesson series. There's a lot of information in this book, and I feel like when you're trying to tackle your finances, most of us try tackling everything all at once, right? And you're busy, I'm busy, I get it. And the truth is, we don't have all day, every day to dedicate towards getting better with our money. So I thought, why not do mini lessons that are quick, they're impactful, they're helpful, and they leave you with action steps that you can take to start transforming your finances in 6 days. Yes, you can actually start seeing that transformation in front of your eyes in as little as 6 days. That's the great thing when you don't use numbers for measurable in your life, right? You can actually start to track this feeling of success and your definition of success, because it starts with you. And so we're able to see that a lot more quickly than sometimes we would numbers on a spreadsheet or a piece of paper. So that's why we are doing the mini lessons. And it's all around celebrating the release of my brand new book, My Money, My Way, Taking Back Control of Your Financial Life. It has been a very long, almost 2-year journey to get to this point where it's being released out in the world. And I'm not gonna lie, this has been a self-discovery journey for me as well. And it really was the TBM family that was the driving force behind the creation of this book. It was all of you saying, Miko, I would love to have this information in one place. Miko, can you talk a little bit more about this? Or Miko, I would love to see this in a book. And today, here it is. So that's what we're doing. We're kicking off day 1. And today is all about finding your purpose. Now, I struggled with this about naming it your financial purpose. But really, when you define your purpose on your financial journey, and as you're walking through this self-discovery, you will realize that this is not just a financial purpose. This trickles into every aspect of your life. From the decisions you make to the relationships that you have, it literally is life-changing. And I think it's kind of sad too, discovering and defining your purpose. Now, I call this finding your why. Okay, I call it my why in my life. And that's what I'm going to be calling it today. This step is often skipped when you are on a road to transforming your finances. And I think that's really sad, because it answers and addresses the number one question I get here at the Budget Mom. Miko, I see you every single day. How are you so dang motivated, working on your budget, talking about your financial goals, doing all this every single day? How do you find the motivation to track your spending every day? The truth is, I'm not motivated every day. I am human and busy single mom like a lot of you. And I wake up sometimes without that motivation that I need to succeed with my finances. So today we're going to be talking about, yes, discovering your why. Now, I even have my notes, so I hope you came prepared today with a notebook, a pen. Maybe you've already received your copy of your book. Take out the highlighters, mark it up. This book is for you. So it's okay if there's scribbles all over the place or whiteout or highlighters. Whatever it means to have it click up here for you and to truly help you. That's the goal. So I even have my notes today, because if you know me and follow me on the Budget Mom, then you know I'm kind of long-winded, all right? Especially if you are a part of my Savings Challenges Facebook group live events. 1 minute I'm talking about saving money, the next I'm talking about buying a car. So I have to keep myself on schedule as well for these lives, because it's a mini lesson. We're gonna get all this done in about 10 to 20 minutes. So, okay, motivation versus discipline. As I had just mentioned, I'm not motivated every day, and that's just the simple truth. Motivation and self-discipline are very different things. But here's the catch. They can't live without the other. Now, motivation is sparked by our inspiration for change in our lives, especially when it comes to our finances. And I'll give you a little example and a little bit of my story, and it's shared in the book, my McDonald's ice cream cone story, okay? That was my initial punch in the gut, my initial spark for change, my motivation to say, you know what? This is not the life that I want to live with my son. I want change. So motivation is that initial inspiration for change in our lives. But what happens when you wake up and you're not motivated? This is where self-discipline comes into our lives and keeps you going throughout what can be a very long financial transformation, right? So, to figure out, I get a lot of people, Miko, like, what exactly is your why? How do you figure it out? What are the steps that are going to get me there? How do I really hone in on this very specific, very important thing that I'm supposed to have on the beginning of my financial journey? I'm going to tell you right now that when you are discovering your purpose, the first question we need to ask is, why are you on this financial journey in the first place? Why are you here with me right now, listening to the Budget Mom? There's a reason, a deep underlying reason why you want to be better with your money. That's the first question you have to ask yourself and address. A why, it evokes emotion. And I know that for a really long time, we have been told to leave emotions out of the equation when it comes to our finances. That's not true. In fact, I take the opposite approach. We are all emotional beings. And to tell yourself not to feel something for a specific task or a goal or what you're working on is like asking you not to breathe during those moments. You're going to feel something whether you want to or not. So the question is how to deal with and control the emotions rather than them controlling you. And once you get a handle and understand your emotions, that is what becomes the most powerful tool in your tool bag on your financial journey. Trust me in that. Motivation is sparked from emotion, what we feel. I try to think about, so my why is to live a life with my son and to seize opportunities without relying on someone else's money or debt. Now that's a big statement, right? But ultimately it comes down to the life that I'm choosing to live with my boy. And when I think about that and I say that out loud, even right now, like I can feel my eyes watering because it's that important to me. Your why is bigger than yourself. And what I mean by that, when you start thinking about your purpose on this financial journey, you have to look about how that purpose affects everyone around you. It's okay to have self-interest, obviously, on this financial journey. It's okay to start out with a why that is, I want to pay off debt. That's a good starting place. And that initially starts with you. But for example of paying off debt, think about how paying off debt in your life affects people around you. So I knew that being better and getting better with budgeting, sure, it affects me first, but it also affects my son in so many ways that I have recognized since I've even started this journey. The amazing financial habits that I'm not only teaching him, but the things that he's witnessing himself, being able to include him in my routine, in my financial transformation. Maybe it's not a child, but think about the people who surround you, right? In your circle of love that it affects. Your why needs to be visual. When you think about your purpose on your journey, and I think it's important to mention here too that your purpose is not a goal, okay? It is not a goal. It can start off as a goal, but truly your purpose is not a goal here. It's a state of being and living. It comes down to your quality of life. How you are choosing to live this one life you have been blessed with, and what that looks like. When you get to the end and you're sitting there looking back at your life, I hope all of you get there not wanting to change a dang thing. You need to be able to visualize. For example, one of the ways I stay motivated, when I thought about my why in my head on my journey, one of the things that I kept visualizing in my mind was seeing my son's face, his smile on his face, running across our porch in our new home. Hearing his laughter. Feeling his happiness. I could literally picture in my mind what that would look like. You need to visualize it. You need to feel it. You need to hear it in your mind. You need to attach yourself emotionally that way to your purpose. All right, so motivation, self-discipline are not the same. So how do you create self-discipline in your life? Okay, you have the emotional motivation component. Okay, you have your why. What do you do about the self-discipline part? The motivation and inspiration is there to remind you of why it's so important what you're doing. I kind of like to think of it this way. I like to think of it as like, if motivation is your why, then your self-discipline is the what. That's the way I like to look at it. Self-discipline is created by taking those small, consistent action steps daily in your life. It's a routine. It's habits that you rely on when motivation is not there. So, for example, the days I don't feel motivation, I still have my financial routine in my life. That's tracking my spending every single day. That's knowing where my money is going, what's coming in. Part of that routine for me is looking at my checking account online. Some days I don't want to see it. Some days I'm not motivated to see it, but I do it. Because it's this financial routine that I've created for myself that I've been doing the last 6 years every single day. Your purpose, we've talked about, is specific, it's visual, it's bigger than yourself, and it evokes emotion. Start with a goal. And I think that's a really easy place to start, because I think a lot of us can identify a goal that we're trying to work on here, whether that's wanting to start investing this year, whether it's wanting to save $5,000 for a vacation with your family, whether that's wanting to pay off debt. We can all kind of identify this goal, a goal we have in our lives. But then you have to ask yourself the follow-up question. If your goal is to save money, the follow-up question is, why is that important to you? And what happens when you reach that goal? What do you feel when you talk about that goal? Now versus maybe when you reach it. You have to ask the why to the why, if that makes sense. So, action steps, homework for you to take away from this and start today. Don't skip this step. Don't do it. This is a fundamental, crucial step when it comes to building a financial fulfillment foundation. Say that 8 times fast. So, homework step number 1. I want you to write down a list of every single possible purpose or why that you can think of. Just start writing down a list. Maybe when you are reading the chapter in the book, in the margins, just start writing down a goal, a list. It doesn't matter what it is. I think it's also important to mention what just went through my mind right now. When you think about your why, I want you to think about, number one, obviously why it's so important to you, but your why should be something where you tell yourself giving up is no longer an option. If you give up, then you're giving up your why. That's not an option here. It should be that important to you. Think about it this way. And yes, there was a time I did give up on my financial journey for an entire year. I was so dang frustrated about everything. Why it wasn't working, why I was falling behind, why I wasn't making the progress that I needed to, why these steps that people were trying to tell me to do wasn't making any sense in my life. I got really frustrated and I just gave up for an entire year. But then when I discovered my why, it was like this. If I give up on myself and what I'm doing, then I give up on my son. That is not an option. And so your why should be something that you are emotional about, where you tell yourself giving up is no longer an option. After you have your list written down, and if maybe some of them are goals, I want you to ask the next question. Why is this so important to me? What does it mean to me? How does it affect the people around me? What does it look like in my life? What does my life look like if I were to reach this? After you have your list written down, next to each possible why on your list, I want you to write down one word on how it makes you feel. Or you can even write down a word that possibly describes your state of being for that specific why. For example, maybe the word that comes to mind is freedom. Maybe the word or emotion that you feel is excited, happy, scared, intimidated. It doesn't matter what you feel. What's more important is identifying what you feel when you think about your why. This emotional connection to your purpose needs to be there. And one of the things that's going to help you with the inspiration is identifying that feeling and that emotion. One of the words that I could describe and could possibly write down when I think about my why is purpose. My why gives me a purpose outside of just existing, outside of just being a mom. It gives me a person to be it gives me a purpose to be the best version of myself, to want a better future, to be the best that I can be. So purpose would be a great word to describe my why as an example. Once you have narrowed down your why, and let me tell you right now, it's okay if your purpose changes on your financial journey. Mine did. That's okay. Remember, this is a transformation, and sometimes in that transformation, our goals, our perception and perspective of things, the way we value things in our lives, what we're fighting for, our purpose, it can change when all those other things start to become a lot more clearer. But what I want you to do today is just identify one of those ones that you feel the strongest. Maybe on your list, you have one that just really resonates with you. One that touches you here. One that you feel something for more than the others. Once you have identified that, I want you to find a visual reminder, something that you can print out. Now, I don't have it with me. Well, okay. You can kind of see it over there, here on my board, some pictures, like my cute son's face right over here. That is my visual reminder. And I don't know if you've seen my Instagram, but I also have a visual reminder of my cute son's face in my wallet. I want you to print that out, cut it out from a magazine if you see it in a magazine or something like that, and put it somewhere where you're going to see it often. Now, mine's really easy because my reminder is like constantly running around me all the time, right? Mom, 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 mom. But maybe it's, maybe it's being able to spend as much time with your mom or your parents as you can. What would that visual reminder be for you? Maybe it's the ability to travel without relying on debt and the freedom to be able to choose that for yourself. What would your visual reminder be of that? Find a picture, a visual reminder, whatever it may be, where you look at it and you feel something. Feeling something is what sparks action. Action is what you need to be successful on this transformation. So, mini lesson number 1, and I will be back tomorrow for mini lesson number 2. I am so excited. There's going to be a ton of really great action steps and homework with these. Get your lists. Don't skip this step. It's so important. You owe it to yourself to identify your purpose. You are deserving of this. And not only that, you are capable. You are capable. So, my money, my way. Also, if you are watching this and you're like, Nico, I don't know what this is about, what you're talking about, you can order my brand new book, My Money, My Way, Taking Back Control of Your Financial Life, over at thebudgetmom.com/My Money, My Way.